with me. And I would like to offer a spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer as we begin. So I invite you to just relax for a moment. If you'd like to yawn, that's perfectly fine. As we remind ourselves of the truth that there is only one thing, Spirit itself, that divine universality in which we live and have our being. Since this is true, I remind myself that God is all there is, and therefore I am a unique individualization of Spirit itself. Understanding that, I recognize that I am a center in the universe, as are we all. And as such, I speak my word with firm belief as I claim right here and now that this service today, this gathering today, unfolds in wonderful ways. That this gathering this morning brings great good to everyone here, now, everyone who might still be on their way, everyone with whom we are connected, into the world itself. We know that no matter what mist, what fog exists, the sun is always shining, and we let that sun shine in our hearts, knowing, showing the truth that there is good for us right here, right now, and this good unfolds in wonderful ways. I know that wonderful, surprising, fantastic moments of good await us here, now, today, this week, and always, because this is a magnificent world. I give thanks for it. I give thanks, and I turn this spiritual mind treatment over to Spirit itself, knowing it is already done, and inviting you to close with me by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
I am so grateful to be here this morning. So we'll start off with a real beautiful song. Grateful for the morning, grateful for the sunlight on my face, grateful for the feeling, grateful for the knowing, grateful for the love that's in this place, grateful for the knowing that God is all there is. God is all there is. God is all there is.
It's so nice to have Richard James with us this morning. Thank you. So good morning again, everyone. I'm Reverend Kate, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in Carlsbad, where we really believe that there is a power for good in the universe and that we can use it, and where we come together every Sunday to teach, demonstrate, and inspire a positive spiritual approach to living. So to start with, I would like to invite Robert, Practitioner Robert. Are you doing the candle lighting?
Oh, I
Come on up, Robert. I would like to invite him, and I'm so glad he said yes.
He was trying to get out of it.
To come up front and light our candles this morning. And we use these candles to just symbolize and remind yourself of the underlying spirit of life and the unity of all. So first, we light a candle for life. Life is everywhere present, flowing through each and every one of us. There is only one life. That life is God's life, and that life is my life now. So please say with me, I am life.
Life.
We light a candle for love. The birth of love happens within each one of us. Every time we make room for the Christ consciousness in our hearts and in our lives, we are transformed. I am a point of love within the heart of God. Please say with me, I am love. We light a candle for light. The light of God is the presence and the power, and we are always walking in the light. I radiate the light of God wherever I am. Please say with me, I am light. We light a candle for beauty. We are made in the likeness and image of God. We are each whole, complete, and beautiful, just as we are. I accept the beauty of God's perfection as my perfection now. Please say with me, I am beauty. We light a candle for joy. Joy is the very nature of spirit and the true essence of each of us. We celebrate the joy of our own rebirth in the God consciousness. I bring joy to the world. Please say with me, I am joy. We light a candle for peace. Today and every day, we open our hearts to peace. I am a center of peace in our world. Please say with me, I am peace. And finally, I'd like to invite each of you to take a moment and recognize your own inner light that is always shining within as we honor our own metaphysical path of wholeness, oneness, and mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. So if this happens to be your first visit to the center, I want to welcome you and invite you to sign our guest book in the lobby. If you put down your email, we can get you on our weekly email list. If you signed up and you're not getting the email, let me know. Sometimes it drifts away into spam. And you can also pick up a welcome envelope. And please stay and join us after the service for fellowship. It's the perfect time to meet people and ask questions too. So here at our center, Spiritual Mind Treatment is our gift to you on Sundays. So if you have a prayer request today, you could either speak to myself, Reverend Maurene, Practitioner Robert, Practitioner Larry, after the service, or you can fill out a written request form and put it in the box in the corner of the lobby. If you want to do that, then our prayer team will do prayer work for you this week. And I always like to remind you, it's okay to put in a request more than once. We keep working on change until we see change. You can look inside your program. We printed most of the announcements, but there's one important announcement that I hope you will all see, and that is that next week is Potluck Sunday. And it's also just a couple of days after St. Patrick's Day. So everyone's invited to wear green if you want. You don't have to, but you can. I might be. You need to have some fun. So potluck next Sunday. So the other important announcement is that we all want to say thank you to today's volunteers, because this is a community-based spiritual center. So it really does keep a team to get it going. And I can't tell you, wow, even the people who didn't sign up to volunteer today all pitched in because it was daylight savings. There was a little bit of confusion, but it's beautiful now. And everything fell into place. So I do want to recognize Mary for bringing the flowers today. So I want to thank Marty for being our greeter today. And Jan brought some beautiful treats for our fellowship time. Practitioner Larry is doing our video recording, so Larry. And of course I want to thank Jan and Angel for all they do to keep us organized. Now we do have a volunteer sign-up sheet. If you would like to sign up, please, we would love to have you join that group. So if you could open your programs and on the right-hand side find the group reading. Let's read it together. God is all, both visible and invisible. One presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect love and perfect abundance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect abundance. Thank you. And now if you want to stand, we'll have a group song. And
Yes.
does everyone have the words? There's some more word sheets in the lobby. So if you don't have a word sheet, Jan is bringing some more in. Just raise your hand if you need a word sheet.
No.
You want one? We got one. Oh, you got one.
I love myself the way I am. I am.
The name of this particular song is I Love Myself, the way I am. And that's sort of the beginning. That's where we have to start. We can't love anyone else, really, if we don't love ourselves and respect ourselves. Here we go. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best that I can. And I love myself just the way I am. Okay, now we're going to get tricky up a little bit here. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel inside love inside myself, it's easy to love you. It's kind of your hopes, your tears. I see your shining star, and I love you just the way you are. Here we go. I love myself the way I am, but still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best that I can. And I love myself just the way I am. And I love myself just the way I am.
because all winter long we've been freezing, and it's finally 70 degrees in here, and I just wonder how many of us get really, really hot.
I get hot.
So, please help me welcome Verla up to give us our inspirational reading for today.
Oh, I like your green cat.
I wore green today.
Yeah, she's a weaker knee.
I thought about that. Well, I'm going to test your consciousness level today with this reading. See how conscious you are after losing an hour of sleep last night. This comes from the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes. We observe in creation an atomic intelligence, then a simple consciousness, after which comes a personal consciousness, then a cosmic consciousness. These variations of consciousness are definitely defined and accepted by most investigators. As we watch the transition from the atomic to the simple intelligence, from the simple to the personal, from the personal to the cosmic, we find that we are merely going up a scale of unity. The spirit is not something apart from the matter so-called, but is something working through matter. The potential possibility of what we call the highest and the lowest is inherent in everything. They are not different things. They're the same thing functioning at different levels. We are all familiar with the idea of unity in this physical world, this physical universe. Physics has chased this form, as it were, back into a primordial unity of energy and intelligence. Perhaps this is what Emerson had in mind when he said, "I do not say that mind is one thing and matter another. I say they're the same thing."
Sounds like physics to me. Matter and energy are one.
Yes.
You know, that's what Newton said. To set the record straight. Here's a song by John Buccino, and it's amazing. It's called Grateful. I think Josh Groban had a hit with this one as well. But it goes like this. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a warm place to sleep. Some nights I lie awake counting gifts instead of counting sheep. I've got a heart that can hold love. I've got a mind that can think. There may be times when I lose the light and let my spirit sink, but I can't stay depressed when I remember how I'm blessed. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. I've got a family of friends. No matter what rocks and brambles fill the way, they will stay until the end. I feel a hand holding my hand. It's not a hand you can see, but on the road to the promised land, this hand will shepherd me through delight and despair, holding tight and always there. Grateful, grateful, truly grateful I am. Grateful, grateful, truly blessed and duly grateful. Truly blessed and duly grateful.
How beautiful. So now it is my really great pleasure to ask you to help me welcome Reverend Maurene. And now she told me you can take notes and ask questions. So please feel free to do that. And give her a big hand.
Thank you and good morning. And you may have wondered, what was that reading all about? Well, I'm going to be talking about quantum physics.
Yeah.
You know, we're called religious science for a reason. And Reverend Kate last week was saying, the first sentence of the book says, there will come a time when science and religion walk hand in hand. Well, it's here. We do walk hand in hand. And I want to explain a little more of that. And I got to watch out because Richard used to be a physicist. He worked for the feds. Yeah. So you'll correct me if I get it wrong. So I want to talk about quantum physics because we've been talking about the creative process this month. And I want to talk about consciousness. And you have to talk about quantum physics because it is called the science of consciousness. Because you cannot measure something on a very, very small scale without interfering with that measurement. They're so tiny. So let me start kind of back at the beginning. What is quantum physics? Well, it really is an understanding of very, 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 very tiny particles. Now, did any of you see the movie Ant-Man and Quantum? No? Well, it's at the movie right now. Well, we're going to have to go see it and see how Hollywood portrays the quantum world. But like Verla said earlier, and we say it in our material, God is both visible and invisible. So I want to talk a little bit about the invisible, even though you can't see it with the naked eye. So it's kind of like two of my favorite scientists, Niels Bohr and Albert Einstein, they argued for like 30 years over this issue of quantum physics because Einstein wanted a predictable universe. He wanted something that was like the normal traditional particle physics. And that's not what the world is all about. The world is uncertain. The world of quantum is uncertain. And just to give you an idea, your body has something like 8 octillion electrons in it and cells, and your body is an amazing place. Everything on the quantum level. So, okay, let's talk about the rabbit hole itself. This one physicist described quantum physics as you go to a lake, it's really smooth and quiet, You take a bouncy ball that's heavy though, and you throw it into the lake and it disappears, and you have these waves going out. And there's a stick, and a wave hits the stick. The waves all stop, and the bouncy ball comes back. That's quantum physics. And you're going, what?
What did she say?
How many of you had an MRI? Okay, what that is, that's a huge electromagnetic machine. And what it does is it excites the water molecules in your body, especially the hydrogen. And the hydrogen goes both directions at the same time. Now, try to figure that one. Both directions, like this way and this way, spinning at the same time. Okay. You have TVs, you have computers, you have lasers. You go to the store and you scan, the barcode. This is all quantum, because of quantum physics. And nuclear reactors, all these tools have to do with quantum physics. And now we're looking at the quantum computing storage called qubits. And they're not really, they're being worked on. I won't say that they're readily available, but it's on the cusp of science right now. So I want to explain 3 aspects. Ernest Holmes said, God doesn't play dice. And Niels Bohr said, stop telling God what to do and what to say. And Ernest Holmes said, this is spooky. And, in the long run, Einstein believed that, like light, he felt it was a particle. But I think we've proved it's a wave, and it's actually both. So how can something be both? It is. So I want to talk to you about objects like electrons and photons having dual ability, wave-particle duality. I want to talk to you about entanglement, and I don't mean 2 physicists going out together. And I want to talk to you about uncertainty, because the basis of the universe is uncertainty. It's just like Robert here. I shine a light on Robert. Pretend Robert's an electron. So I shine a light on Robert, and he disappears. He disappears. He doesn't walk to the back of the room. He disappears. He goes outside of space and time, and he ends up over there by the door. Okay. He went to another state. Electrons are orbiting, well, loosely. And if I tried to repeat the experiment, Robert may end up over there next time. See, there's no certainty, and that's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But first, did you know women are like an open book? Men would say, but it's written in Chinese and it's all about quantum mechanics. Scientists say the universe is made up of protons, neutrons, photons, electrons, muons, bosons. They forgot about the morons. So, what is this quantum physics? At first, scientists tried to study what is this energy that is given off. And they basically talked about little packets of energy. And Einstein, was one of the first to promote this idea as well. But we've known about light waves since 1802 and their dual nature. They can be energy packets, or they can be waves. And so what I want to talk to you about is an experiment. And Robert can stand up here and show you this, and then turn it at the right time. So what happens here, this is a single slit. And what happens is you can use light, and people do this in their garage. You can use light, you can go to the beach and put a box down and put a slit in it and look and see at the back of the box. There's one little light. There's like a row of light. Now, if you put two slits, you look, wow, you get the whole rainbow of light. And it's a wave pattern, which is the other side, the wave pattern, if you put two slits. Now, this experiment is famous because just since 1967, scientists decided to use, this is like a little electron gun, and it just shoots one electron at a time. And what happens is, instead of a single line, you get a wave function. Well, they go one step further. They decide to put a guy in here, a measuring device. They put a measuring device on this side, and they decide, okay, every time an electron goes through the right side, it makes a little light, or the left side makes another little light, and we're going to keep track of them. So what happens? Turn it back. It goes back to a single stripe. How did that happen? Now, so the scientists say, well, how did that happen? We put an observer in there, somebody who's sitting in a booth watching, and they're observing, and it turned back into a solid particle. Okay, well, let's trick that little electron. Let's go out of the room. Let's tiptoe out of the room, and let's just unplug the equipment so the electron doesn't know we're not recording it anymore. So what happens? Back to a wave function. So if you can figure this out, you get a Nobel Prize. So you can sit. So what's going on here? Consciousness. It's all about consciousness. Consciousness, your consciousness, the consciousness of the observer. And there are some very famous Nobel Prize winner, Wigner, Eugene Wigner, who said, you cannot understand quantum physics without understanding consciousness. It's the consciousness of looking at this wave causes it to collapse into a particle. And we know what particles are. They're the building blocks of everything in our life. They're the building blocks of this building, of this podium, of each of you sitting here. So we have this power to create. So we have to figure out how to truly harness it. And we do that in religious science. We learn how to harness it, and that's why we call it science of mind, because we do scientific prayer treatments. So back to the craziness. I was going to show you a picture. When you were little in school, they told you they had you draw a little circle and then a little electron going around it. It looks really nice, kind of like the Earth going around the sun. This is what it really looks like. It doesn't look like a neat little packet of anything. It's mushy. They're mushy. You know, it's all mushy. That's what everything is mushy until you decide to take a picture of it or you measure it, and then it comes into a state. So in quantum physics, there is quantum entanglement. Now, quantum entanglement is really interesting, and there's still, you know, the Nobel Prize last year, I may have information about it, last year that was awarded to 3 scientists who were working on this quantum entanglement. And what happens is that a group of particles interact and they share spatial proximity, and each of these particles are said to be entangled, kind of like we all were at the Big Bang. So they're in this state, they're separated, and scientists will shoot one on the other side of the globe, or they'll shoot it out into outer space. They'll tweak this one, they'll change the spin of this one. Well, that one that is a long way away instantaneously changes too. You could say, how could that happen? Is there some kind of communication? Why is it doing this? Well, we haven't figured this one out either. My own feeling is there is no time and space. And I think as we get into time, space, we'll have better understanding that. But Einstein, he was very dissatisfied with this because he said it would counteract what he called relativity, the theory of relativity, which is that you can't go faster than the speed of light. But if I just tweak something here and it was instantaneous there, that's faster than the speed of light. So figure it out. It's a question. Uncertainty. There's a fellow named Heisenberg, and he's the one who studied things like Robert the electron showing up there and showing up here and showing up wherever, and saying life is uncertain. There's uncertainty in the universe. We cannot, at that level, at the quantum level, we can't predict. So they use probability, but nothing is for certain. So, you know, next time you think about your body, every cell in your body, kind of blinking in and out of space and time, and thinking about certainty, you have lots of options. You can choose from many options in life. There is no certainty. Oh, last year it was John Clauser, Elaine Aspect, and Anton Zillinger who split the 2022 Nobel Prize for experiments with entangled photons. And their colleagues said they had it coming, deserving this reckoning for overthrowing reality as we know it. So good old Heisenberg. So right now, science is looking at what's real and what isn't real. And they're talking about something, if something is local versus non-local. So if you get into a discussion with a friend about local and non-local, what it basically means is local is that it's affected by what's going on here, right in front of you, kind of in this space. Non-local can be on the other side of the planet, can be on the inside of the universe as well. And this local, non-local has, I'm not going to go a lot into it for you because it just means that objects can be influenced by the environment, but their environment includes what they were entangled in, maybe at the beginning of time. So quantum physics shows us that the micro world reacts very differently than our macro world. Yeah, we think it's strange and spooky, but you know, it's really just all God. And we can change our desires and make a difference. Just like when there is a wave of light or a particle, it's the same thing. It's all good, it's all God. And we are a consciousness in a physical body in time and space. So I believe the more you meditate, the more you come in contact with what I call the quantum field, the quantum world. You come more in contact with it, and actually I feel that when we're in meditation, we're outside of time and space. We are meditating at a higher vibration, and we all vibrate. We can talk about that later. And the more you do prayer, You're aligning with this greater power. So just, I want to give time for people to have questions about this, but again, I want to tell you, when that person went in and looked at that double slit experiment and did a reading and changed it by looking at it, they changed it to a particle. It's like, how does that happen? Your mind has this amazing ability to change your life by changing your thinking. So this month we're going to talk a little more about changing our thought processes. We're going to talk about the Big Bang. In a week and a half I'll be talking about that, because that also is an intention. See, the old question, is there an observer? Was there an observer? There has to be an observer in order for a wave to collapse into a particle. So that's kind of quantum nature. Oh, one more, quantum leap. Do you know what a quantum leap is? That was Robert jumping out of time and space and then showing up someplace else. That was that electron, that quantum leap. So it's a world of wonder. It's a world of amazing potential for all of us as science and scientists and physics professors and people that work in physics, like Richard has. They are creating this new world. And if you think about it, you have something inside of you which is marvelous, which is stunning, which is spooky, which is uncertain, and understanding the very small as well as, we understand, I think we understand better the very large. When we understand both, we understand it's all one. We see that unity, we see that connection. So, questions? Questions about quantum physics? Answers about quantum physics?
Can we see Robert do that leap?
Can we do quantum leap here so we can physically?
You have to get down the quantum level for that, Larry.
I don't think I'm quite there yet.
Melissa?
Yeah, I have a question. From what it sounds like, it's an illusion. We live in an illusion, and it depends on how we perceive things, depends on how we play it out, but it's all an illusion. Is that pretty much how we
Well,
see things?
Ernest Holmes said it was not an illusion, it's real at the level at which you are. He did use the term vibration. So, people will say, oh, that's real woo-woo, but no, I believe that we're all vibrating. Everything in us is vibrating.
It meant with the illusion, we make a judgment call as to what we think it is according to the way we see things. Is that sort of it? No?
Well, thinking makes it so.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
What was the movie again you were talking about?
Oh, I'm sure it's just pure Hollywood silliness, but it's called Ant-Man and the quantum field or something.
Ant-Man?
Ant. Yeah, it's one of the Marvel characters who helps get the bad guys, and he's able to shrink himself down small like an ant, and then down into the quantum field even farther. Like if you think about it, the quantum level is like, wow, it's like 10 to the minus 34 or something. It is so small, it's really hard for us. But we can measure, we have the ability to measure electrons, and we have the CERN, the collider, in which they're pushing electrons together and causing tunneling. They're doing all kinds of things just to investigate, to find out what is reality. Truly, what is it? Yes.
I like to see the Webb telescope pictures, and I wonder
wonder if our observation of that influences what it actually is.
Our observation of
Of the photos of.
photons.
That we're seeing of the Webb, from the Webb telescope, that's supposed to be like the beginning of time.
Well, those photons are, yeah, those photons, you're saying, do I mean, I'm sure as we measure those photons, we may have some effect on them, but they started out, billions of years ago. But as we study them, our observation, our ability to study something and interfere with it, basically, that's where it comes in. I'm not sure we can interfere with them other than we record them, we look at them, we analyze them. What do you think?
One thing you can say is the Big Bang occurred about 13.7 billion years ago. So things were out from that point.
Did you hear that? He said the Big Bang occurred 13.6 billion years ago.
We're looking at light in some cases, the greater the precision of the telescope, the more detail we can see. You should check out the PBS program. It was like, I think that's what you're talking about. It was absolutely fascinating. They showed that experiment with light too.
Oh, they showed it with light as well as, yeah. This was with electrons, but you can do it with light because electrons and photons have the dual. They can be light, they can be particles, or they can be waves. Isn't that great? Yeah, Morgan?
It's amazing.
This is a crazy thought, I know, but if we are able to look back at what they were doing in the past, and our observation changes what they're doing, then ergo, we could change past events. Big picture.
Well, okay, science, there are experiments in quantum physics that show changing the past.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but I'm not going into that one.
Is that what they
Yeah.
call time travel?
Yeah.
An interesting observation about entanglement is it can't be used to send in communication. You can't communicate faster than light. However, when you observe that paired photon or electron, you will know that the observer, what they will see. So if it's you see a top spin, they'll see a down spin. So you can't really affect or communicate through entanglement, but you can know what the other observer will see or has seen, which is really quite interesting.
Yeah, so if this one is up, the other one has got to be down. And you can use that for encryption. But I think Einstein won't come out of his grave because you can't use it for information that could be passed faster than the speed of light. So, but we could have more discussions about, I know lately science is saying we may be able to exceed the speed of light. And that's for another day. We could talk about 10 dimensions and the one dimension of time. And, and multiverses. Marvel has a movie about multiverses. Well, quantum physics is saying, yes, in all probability, we have multiverses as well. We live in a fascinating universe. Yeah.
In 2004, there was a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? I don't know if anybody has seen it. Anyway, if you can find it and stream it, it's a great primer for all of this.
What the bleep do we know?
What the bleep do we know? Yeah. Just
We can have a
Google it.
movie night.
Yeah, movie night. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I like to think that Rumi I like to think that Rumi, back in whatever century it was, he was in the 14th or the 10th?
14th century.
14th, yeah. When he said there's a field out there beyond right doing and wrong doing, and I'll meet you there, that he was actually talking unknowingly about the quantum field.
Could be the quantum field. It was consciousness. And that's really the basics of, I was surprised in The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes mentions consciousness probably 90 times. You know what I mean? Because everything has a consciousness. Just like Verla was saying in her reading today, there are different levels. It's the same thing, it's just expressed on different levels. So the universe is conscious. And one more.
I was just gonna say, like you mentioned something about energy and our frequencies, and I've been studying a little bit about that because I'm also a florist and I help people heal with plant medicine and flowers and their energy. And I was doing a study that a rose is the highest frequency energetically in the world as far as its flower. And I've just been studying and it's a science that actually tells us like how we all vibrate on different megahertz, and the human body is like 68 megahertz to 90, I guess. And like the rose is in love, the frequency of love is at 528 Hz's. I'm just, it's so fascinating. I'm just kind of trying to understand all that. But the rose is 320. And just to be around things that are high vibrational, because it helps us, you know.
Help bring your own vibration up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. So thank you.
One of the messages I just want to say is we're not afraid of science. Science, explains to us another view of reality. And then we have the ability to create an even better reality. So, because we have the ability to collapse a wave into a particle. So that's the basis of it all.
So, does that explain this theory about the field of relativity? That the more you can get away from your relatives, the more conscious you can be?
The more you get away from your relatives, the better off you are.
Yeah, we'll take that one.
You don't want to be local, you want to be non-local. Okay, let me see, do we have a song next, or we go into, I've just forgotten,
Song is next.
song next. Thank you, Richard.
Totally. That's totally fascinating. I mean, to think that when we see things coming in, that we're looking further and further out, that light is billions of years old by the time it gets to us. And what that means, among other things, is a lot of those early galaxies that are long gone. They don't exist anymore because it's so old. The light that we're seeing of it is so old. So it's probably not even there. You know, other things have come to take their place, perhaps. But if something is that old and you're seeing the light, and it has to evolve. You know, they say the sun, for example, is going to be around for maybe a couple of billion years more before it turns into a red giant or whatever it's going to become. And the Earth and the planets that are close to the sun will be burned to a crisp, you know. So anyway, it's a very fascinating thing, this whole thing about the universe and being able to look back for billions of years and see things that were happening that long ago. Anyway, I have a song called Aren't You Glad You're You? Every time you're near a rose, aren't you glad you've got a nose? And if the dawn is fresh with dew, aren't you glad you're you? And when a meadowlark appears, aren't you glad you've got two ears? And if your heart is singing too, aren't you glad you're you? You can see us on the sky, or touch a friendly hand, or taste an apple pie. Pardon my grammar, but ain't life grand? And when you wake up each morn, aren't you glad that you were born? Think what you've got the whole day through. Aren't you glad you're you? You can see a summer sky, touch a friendly hand, taste an apple pie. Pardon my grammar, but ain't life grand? And when you wake up each morn, aren't you glad that you were born? Think what you've got the whole day through. Aren't you glad you're you? We're so glad you're you. Aren't you glad you're you? Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Well, this is our time for conscious gifting and giving, and just know that giving is receiving. It's part of the same law of circulation. And we want to thank you in advance for your gifts, all the volunteers for your time and for your talent. Thank you. So if you want to, if you have your gift and you would like to just, we have many ways of giving and they're listed. You can, I give by Venmo, but if you want to just put your hand over your heart and give gratitude for this life, for everything about it, great and small. Give gratitude, knowing that this gift, divine love is flowing through this gift as I give it. I know this, so it is. So let's sing our little, I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
All right, one more prayer before we go out to fellowship. So if you want to just relax and take a deep breath and join me in consciousness. Right here, right now, in this place, there is only one power and one presence, one life, God's life, which is my life. Never been any separation, never will be. This power, I use it for good. And I declare that I am perfect, healed, whole, loving, lovable. I am creative. I am generous. I am loving and lovable. Because I am one with Source, I am unlimited. I have money to share and money to spare. So I give great gratitude. Gratitude for this body, gratitude for this life, gratitude for being born. And I give gratitude for all the quantum realm and all the amazing findings and all the amazing tools that are being created for perfect use on the macro level. So, again, I give great gratitude and thank everyone here for your participation. I release my word. I let it go. I know it is acted upon, it is spoken. I know this is so. Together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you. So join us for, oh, stand up. Oh, we have a song, yes.
We do, we're going to song. You Can't Stop Love.
Remember, you can't stop love.
Yes, sir.
It's on the back.
Open your heart, let your love go free, out over the ocean, right across the street. Let it flow like a river, let it fly like a dove, till your heart remembers you can't stop love. Once you get it started, watch what it does. It'll go full circle. You can't stop love. Again. Open up your heart. Let your love go free. Out over the ocean, right across the street. Let it flow like a river. Let it fly like a dove, till your heart remembers